Hello, and welcome to Greet the Week. I am Mona Duncan, and this program is to concentrate on living in the now, that always is, and appreciating everything that comes our way and seeing how that we can, that it can be a life lesson for us. Today, our topic is entitled The Turtle's Edge. And this was an article that I wrote back in 2011, and I read it over a couple of days ago, and I thought, wow, a couple of weeks ago anyway, and I thought, wow, this is old, but it's new. And so although it's the same topic, there's some new ideas brought into it. The Turtle's Edge. And more I begin to think that we're all wanting the same thing. We just get confused about it. And wanting the same thing, just like edge, an edge can mean something that, well, an edge means to be sharp. If it's on the edge of something and you touch it, being on the cutting edge, but edge is also to have an advantage of. And so you can remember the story of the Aesop's fable of the turtle and the hare, and how the slow consistency of the turtle won over the spurts of speed by the hare. And although I personally love those inspirational moments of quantum leap productivity, I'm finding that the persistent, intermittent activities prove to be more sustainable and more long-term effective. So, does the term persistent intermittence sound contradictory? Well, let me explain. Kind of reminds me of last week's topic on Pareto's 20-80 principle, where the economics of 20% of our time of mindful work equates to 80% of successful outcome. So that edge is to have an advantage, to appreciate our own authority and our own power. And so I have just a few thoughts here. And one is looking at decision versus compliance. Making a decision of, yes, I will, but we are always doing that. It is with our will that we say, yes, I will, or no, I will not. But sometimes we don't actually let ourselves know that we're being in compliance with that, we're going along with that decision. And the words that we use carry a lot of weight. To a fun-loving rabbit, a fun-loving hare, commitment is heavy and demanding and onerous, with little or no enjoyment, just work. Whereas a decision to change our mind from doing that to doing this, that can be so energetic, that can be so transforming. A decision is lighter. It's something that we let ourselves know we have made that decision. It's easier to handle. It's even energizing. And so the benefits of following your decision are such a blessing that one unconsciously slides into being committed to the goal or to the task or to the outcome. And so I suggest that the turtle, in agreeing to run the race, although the turtle was not really that willing to run, it was just to be who she was, that the turtle was committed to keeping her word. The turtle was committed to being himself. The turtle was going to put one foot in front of the other. And the turtle was not distracted by what the rabbit was doing or what the fox was doing. And so in getting that turtle's edge, it is to stretch and to grow, and to stretch and to grow, and to stretch and to grow into it. The human body is equipped to meet challenges. And we have this chemical lab in our brain that will reduce adrenaline if we need to power up for some Herculean feat. Or it will also have this chemical in there that will power down if we need that parasympathetic to kind of cut some things off so that we can survive. Our body is designed to meet the challenges of life. That parasympathetic can power itself down, that if there was some kind of fatigue or an accident, that it would cut some systems down so that we can continue to survive. And so in looking at that stretching, growing and stretching, it's also in taking small steps, baby steps or small steps. Ironically, speed walking is not in the length of the gait, that it's in the fastness of small steps. A health article that I read not too long ago said that an individual's longevity is based on the length of time that it takes to walk a mile. And I don't remember the formula that you go out to figure that, but however long it takes to walk a mile. And in the speed walking, you try small steps. You just speed it up, but you don't make longer steps, you make smaller steps. Just really, really like, I guess, like a hare, as opposed to a turtle. But anyway, I've tried it and it really works. And I am now applying this strategy, not only to speeding up a little bit and, walking a little faster, but also to projects and receiving quicker results, whether it's working in the yard or whether it's preparing a talk or whatever it is, to apply that strategy of quicker steps. And as the task is broken down into smaller steps for quicker completion, energy is released, and the energy just keeps going because it helps you to see what's needed. And in making those plans, it's what's needed, and then make a plan, and then always, always keep revising the plan. So in looking at the turtle's edge, at one time, I powered it. I used the kind of the lead in for this particular section is what goes around comes around. But now I'm going to look at it as the power of the creative mind. Back in 1965, which was, what was then comes around. But the truth of what was then is very applicable even still today. But Charles Schwab was the president of Bethlehem Steel. And he hired a guy named Ivan Lee to come and look at his company and to give some strategies for increasing the overall efficiency of the company. Well, Ivan Lee's proposal was for each executive at Bethlehem Steel to take a few minutes at the end of the day and to write down 6 things that they needed to do tomorrow. And then not only were they to write those 6 things down, but they were to then put a 1, 2, 3 in order of the most important. And then he suggested go on home, relax, spend time with your family. And that's why I've changed it to let the creative mind take over. Because whenever we are not really giving constant in the now feedback to it, our creative mind is thinking. It's thinking, it's thinking, it's thinking. And so if we look at 6 things that I'm going to do after I'm rested, 6 things that I'm going to do, and ask them and list them in order, then the next morning, they were to tackle number 1 as soon as they came into work and work on it consistently, like a turtle, step by step, until they completed it, and then go on to task number 2. And whatever was left over would move on to the top of tomorrow's list, or going back with the 20-80%. Sometimes whenever you have really energized into that one, it has expanded to having been somewhat helpful in bringing energy to all those other things. Anyway, so the plan still works today. As we predetermine where our energy is to go at the very start, and then feel good about marking off any accomplishments that happen. One of my daughter, whenever she was learning, just as a child, to make lists and just mark them off, she would just get such delight in marking off, well, there was an accomplishment. Well, my Turtle's Edge agenda is to go for 2 a day, and anything else is bonus. So then I was also looking at the fact that how that we have 24 hours in the day, 7 days a week, 365 days in a year. And that's pretty much worldwide, as to my understanding. Only now I'm looking at it instead of 24/7, 365 to the time-space continuum. Because quantum physics looks at the fact that we are all of us. Well, I'm thinking of the Lasser International Board is going to be having a seminar listen to me, March the 18th, and how it will be people all over the planet Earth that will be tuning in. And every one of us just about will be at a different time-space continuum. And that is not only in the hours of the day, but in everything we do. And so as we release the power of that self-defeating attitude for performance, we decide to devote a minimum of 3 days out of 7 to the newly formulated goal. Remember, there was a time that I had a to-do item on my goals list, and I kept sliding it down to the bottom. We'll get all the rest of these out of the way, and then I'll tackle that. Get the rest of these out of the way, then I'll tackle that. But finally, I decided too many days has gone by. It's even turned into weeks and months. And so I just got my pen out and I just marked it off. Forget it. So what? There, done, over with. I'm going on and do other things. Only subconsciously, or with that creative mind, that goal was too important to who I am for it to go unnoticed. And it didn't take long. It was out of my sphere of continually looking at and the dreading of what needed to be done or what I thought maybe needed to be done. But then all of a sudden, I found myself being excited about making plans and looking forward to doing something that had previously been kind of a burden. So just as the rising of the tide elevates all of the boats in the order, so too, improvement in one area positively influences improvement in all areas of our life. And as we can focus on that is the power of decision. That's the cutting edge. It creates a domino effect in the composite whole of our life. So thank you for tuning in. Appreciate your being here. And may your work energy be increased to benefit every area of your life. Many blessings.